I'm in TJ's guard, and the first thing I need to do is get good base and posture. So the base comes from spreading my legs wide. The posture comes in time. So I'll start in a good low posture. This helps prevent against chokes, and I'm occupying his arms. If he happens to get one arm in my collar, I keep my other arm on his bicep here to prevent him from utilizing that. Head down. Now I work my way up. Some people advocate grabbing the lapels, keeping them together so I can press against his upper body if he tries to stand up, and then they put a hand on the belt. Others, hand on the belt, look up as you press into position. It doesn't really matter, you'll mix and match as time goes on. So now that I'm in good posture, I'm able to utilize my frame. So if TJ were to pull on my collar here, I can redirect the force back into him. So as he pulls, I can use my frame and my skeletal structure. Now, if he's pulling me down and my posture is broken, then I have to use muscle to come back into position. So I always want to maintain this upright posture like this, and ideally I'm not even looking at my opponent. Okay, so we're down low. We come up into position. I look up. I'm driving with the heels of my hands into his hips. I'm locking them in place. I move my knee into his tailbone. I'm separating our centers. I move my leg back. I keep my hips square until the very last moment. I can feel the tension on his ankles, and then I twist them at the last minute, opening his ankles. My hand goes to his knee. I push down, drop my hand on the other side of his hip, and then just hop over, passing the guard. The under the leg guard pass is a little bit more difficult because there are more steps involved. However, there are certain advantages and disadvantages to doing the under the leg pass. Advantage number one, you are able to tire out your opponent if you can keep their hips above their head and make them carry their own weight. So you have gravity on your side. In these smashing passes, you can utilize that to your advantage, even if you're a smaller individual going against a larger person. On the other hand, you are more susceptible to arm locks and triangles. Because you're going underneath the leg, you are kind of in a danger zone. Experienced players don't worry about that, but you should know that as you start the journey, there is a susceptibility to arm locks and triangles by passing underneath the legs. We'll open the ankles same way as we did before. Isolating his hips, pinning him down, knee in the tailbone, work that leg back, square hips, square, and then I twist him at the last minute. I push down on his knee, and then I'm going to do a small shimmy, just a couple inches, to increase the pressure on his inner leg. So I started here, I move my hip over just slightly. Now it's much easier to use my elbow to pop this up to my shoulder. I want to insert my thumb into his collar. Then I drive forward. I want his knee to come up and have his hips raise off of the ground. Then I throw my chest forward and establish my posture. Here are a few things you should avoid. As I come into position, I don't want to leave my elbow out. As I push down here, if he's able to beat this hand, boom, I'm in a triangle. So it's important to always tuck that elbow in. I come into position, boom, drop that elbow on the inside. I push down. You can also turn the hand over this way. This is slightly stronger. I personally do not use it, but it is an option. Second thing you'd like to avoid. You don't want to reach with your hand underneath here. My bicep will never beat his hamstring. His leg is much, much stronger. So always use your elbow to pop this up onto your shoulder. Now I can use my body weight. Thumb goes inside, I'm driving forward, hips up. The last thing is I don't want to use his hand to push his leg off. It's difficult here to get this unless I throw my chest forward and my head back. That way I don't have to obligate my hands. I can take care of it without them. In jiu-jitsu, we have to use other parts of our body, like our hands. So when he puts up a wall of resistance, in this case, he's going to block my hip with his hand to prevent the guard pass. I need to learn how to use another part of my body to clear that obstruction. You'll see what I mean. So as TJ blocks me here, I want to use my knee. The first option is moving my knee on the inside and then clearing, and I end up in a very dominant position. Option number 2 is going to be going over his arm with my knee. It's a little bit more difficult, but here's how we do it. I come underneath. I could use my knee that way. Instead, I want to go over. Not quite enough room here, so I have to move my feet. Then I can clear this out and continue to pass the guard. The easiest way, however, is just wiggling your hip and changing the plane that they're able to resist you at. So if we're here, I want to bend the wrist back at an unfavorable angle. Just watch.